Okay, so I think it's okay right now. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Miles Yasim, and I will be your co-instructor in EDUC 40, or Foundations of Special and Inclusive Education. Together with me are Miss April Dayan Caceres and Mr. Steve Embang. So I will be discussing for the first topics for the first 2 weeks. Okay, so I think we have at least, or we have 4 modules to be discussed during these 2 weeks. And then, so next week, there will be another instructor to discuss to you the topics that we have in our syllabus. So if you're ready right now, please see to it, of course, first and foremost, please see to it that you have already eaten your meal, whatever time you're watching this video right now. I also hope that for my section, under sa ako section, you already have your notebook for you to take note of the important details, or maski dili sa under sa question, it is our common sense na mag-take note, take down notes of mga important notes. Okay? So yeah, let's start. We have, or these modules are named Module 2, maybe because it is already on week 2, but it is our first module. So Module 2 and Module 2.1, karong week na to siya i-discuss. So let me play my screen right now so that we can start. Okay. Okay, so special education and its foundation. This is a very interesting topic for everybody of us, because when we will be teaching on the real field, no, on the real life na situation, we can deal, or we will be dealing with students na ay mga disabilities, students nga na ay kanang gitawag nila og mga special, diba? Dili pwede na to na sila matawag og mga kanang say tawag person with disabilities, but it is common man sa ato ang place ang ginatawag nato siya person with disabilities, but pwede na to sila matawag og students with exceptionalities or students with impairment. Yan na lang, para dili kayo murag harsh paminawon ang term. But anyway, these topics that we will be discussing today is our first topics for this subject. So as you can see on the picture, na nakasulat nga, learning knows no bounds. So that means that whatever, or from whatever religion the child came from what family, tradition, culture, and sa panadira, or whatever situation that child is experiencing, learning knows no bounds. So, walay pili ang learning. Learning can take everywhere pa man gani. So let's start. So we will be discussing about the definition of, I hope that you can see this on your screens right now, the definitions of special education and its foundation. I think these are the objectives, no? And the second is the objectives is for you to discuss, explain what are the objectives, goals of the special education program or the SPED program, its principles, discuss the principles of special education, and the laws governing SPED program in the Philippines. So we will be focusing mainly on SPED, or children with exceptionalities, the differences of children, and how are we going to deal with these students inside our classroom. So according to Albert Einstein, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Guys, I just want you to know that you should stop from telling yourself that you are not intelligent, that you are a bobo, or whatsoever. You are all intelligent. Everybody is a genius. But kung ikaw teacher mismo, or ikaw someone who will look down a child or a learner nga naningkamot para makasabay sa iyong klase or para mo improve ang iya ang pag-learn, daladalahon na niya sa iyang tibuok kinabuhi nga i-believe niya nga pugo ko, wala ko'y maabot, kay giinaingon pa man gani sa mong teacher nga wala ko'y mararating sa buhay, kay pobre ko, din bugo pa jud ko tungod kay wala ko'y maingani. Words are impactful, and as teachers, it is our responsibility to be more responsible with our words, no? To be more encouraging, to help the students be more encouraged. Maski pa, kana sila nga students, slow or fast learners. So, muna siya, nga we should remember this Albert Einstein's quote na everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid, and it is very true. That's what happens to most of the children nowadays. They believed that they're not intelligent enough because of the words coming from some people. So dapat encourage na to ang tanang tao, no, nga mahimong successful. Dili kay we will be sad or we will be mad if ever naay makita nato nga naay naningkamot. So what is special education di ay? Nganong kinahanglan mag-study tag special education when in fact our course is BTL Ed HE, BTL Ed IA, BTL Ed ICT. So why do you think that we need to study this special education? Because we will be all teachers someday, and we will be meeting diverse learners inside the classroom. So as expected, we will be meeting a lot of learners who came from different family setting, who came from different tradition, beliefs, culture, or whatsoever. So muna siya mahitabuan. Teachers in the 21st century should be accountable and responsible, and of course, flexible. So special education is also known as special needs education. Manang gitawag siya special needs education because the students that we will be dealing with or we will be facing with during this time are students nga na ay difference in terms of physical sa ilang mga classmates, but they have no difference when we talk about as learners inside our classroom. So and it is also an educational program or service that is designed to meet the needs of children with special needs who cannot profit from general or regular education. So it means that this special education that we will be learning is focusing on how we will meet every needs of the children or child inside our classroom. So naiban, yan ay students na nay disabilities or exceptional abilities, it is hard for them to hear you, kay deaf mute sila. So, unsa na to sila pag-deal? Unsa na to pag-meet ang ilaang needs? Kada siya, ha? It's also the practice of educating students with special needs. It is the same way with educating these students nga na ay special needs para sa makabalo sila nga, oh, our teachers are doing his or her best for us, and as students, it is our responsibility to be like this and like that in our class. And kanang na mga ADHD, dili man gyud sila kapuyo, at least makarealize sila na you are doing your best inside your classroom. And of course, it also refers to the arrangement of teaching procedure. Now, it is very important that we are we will be more organized, we will be more detailed in giving our activities to our students. So we should be more organized in giving the teaching procedures, the instructions, what will be the equipments to be used inside our classrooms, and of course, makaproduce taog conducive to learning classrooms. Other interventions are these interventions during the class when makita nato ang ato ang students na they have the difficulty in doing this and that. So what am I going to do? Kasi ako ang mga next nga actions para mas makahelp sa ako ang mga students, ba? So we have to learn the proper way of dealing with students nga different learning styles, mental health issues, physical and developmental disabilities, and giftedness. So, dili ta magpaka-ignorante inside our classroom someday. No? I-expect nilang yun na to, kung musulod sa classroom, your students are different from each other. Okay? Na differences nga kinahanglan nato i-embrace as teachers. Did you know? Okay? Did you know? No? Trivia sa gamay. Or something like your refresher sa mga nahitabos mo na. Did you know that atong 1908, the special education first began in the Philippines with an American educator, Miss Delia Delight Rice, established the Insular School for the Deaf and the Blind, which a residential school located in Pasay, Metro Manila. So, muna akong gingan sa akong students before that ang Philippines, dugay na na-SPED. And it was built on Pasay City, Metro Manila. So, ang nakakuha nito is si Miss Delia Delight Rice. Now, take note of the people or the person involved while establishing these institutions. So, this school is focused on the deaf and the blind, no? The deaf and the blind. So, muna siya, special education. And of course, take note, American educator siya, dili siya Filipino educator. And the year is 1908. Okay, so the establishment of the said school then encouraged the government. So, this helped the government to have the idea nga magkaroon og recognition katong mga kinahanglan nilang i-recognize nga mga important things, no? Nga makatabang sa mga bata nga handicapped through education. So, did you know? Remember 1908, that was Miss Delia Delight Rice, and ito, she is an American educator and nakahelp siya sa pag-establish of insular school focused on deaf, mute, or deaf and blind children. Okay? So, every effort nilang gi-insert na ay napapatunguhan because the students there learned a lot from them. No, of course, na naman na siya team, not from her lang. So, learned a lot from her and from the people involved in a process. So, it is stated here that all the efforts to uphold the rights and dignity of children with disabilities primarily root from the philosophical understanding of man. Nganong we can say that these things should root primarily from the philosophical understanding of man. Because guys, it is necessary that we should understand more on the reality of life, and we have to accept the fact that there are people there na maybe because na ay ginatake ang ilang parents when buntis pa or na mga complications, that's why this happens or something happened, no? And all the efforts para ma-uphold na to ang rights sa mga bata, ang dignity sa mga bata nga na disabilities or exceptionalities, kinahanglan magsimula na sa ato ang own understanding. So, dili na to pwede i-judge ni mga bata nga ingani because they are still humans. We are humans and we are all created by the Almighty. We are all even, so we should treat these people just and fair. So, basic philosophy. We should read and not forget these quotations, ha? Every child with special needs has a right to an educational program that is suitable to his or her needs. Now, this is one of the rights of a child, no? One of the rights of a child, that every child should be educated. The same na siya sa child with special needs, na siya right nga ma-enjoy ang mga educational programs, mga educational nga activities nga makatabang saya ang pag-grow, ang saya ang pag-learn, di ba? In this vast world, di ba? So, of course, katong mga students nga na special needs, the government are doing their best right now to give such activities or programs to them nga musuit sa ilahang needs. So, kitang tanan na yung right nga maka-learn, di ba? So, special education shares with regular education the basic responsibilities of educational systems to fulfill the right of the child to develop his or her full potential, no matter what the child is experiencing, or maski unsa pa na yung disability or exceptionality or gifted ba siya nga klase sa pagka pupil or student, no? Ang spread na to karon is or runs the same with the regular education. Okay. So, we should have the full understanding aning mga ingani nga mga bagay-bagay when mahimo na tang teacher someday. Dapat ready ta ang atong minds, atong mindset, ang atong knowledge about these things, dapat ready ta before ta mahimong teacher, before ta matawag nga teacher. Okay, the objectives. The primary objective of SPED is the development and maximization of learning competencies, as well as the inculcation of values to make learners with special needs as useful and effective members of society. So guys, the first and foremost objective sa SPED or sa special education is to, of course, to develop and maximize the learning competencies as well as the inculcation. What's an inculcation? The teachers, the people involved here are always, of course, inculcating the values and the different skills na needed or knowledge na needed sa mga students with special needs, no? Para mahimo silang effective members of society. So, makayanta nga people or these students are effective members of society if and only if they have helped with the development of the society. So, kung every child has the right to learn. So, of course, every child or every person has the right to help the society improve or develop. So, nagyapon, makaingon gyapon ta, nagyapon na sila gamit sa ato ang society. Second is to, of course, develop the maximum potential of the child. It is necessary that we have to develop the maximum potential of the child. Na mga child nga dili pa nila makita ang ilang potential karon sa karon, pero with the help of you, you are unleashing their potentials as their teachers, lalo na sa mga students with special needs. And it is a very difficult task, I know, and it requires a lot of patience since dili na to mapagawas tayo ng ilang potential as students or inside your class. And of course, dapat ma-develop na to ang ilang pagka-self-reliant kay maski pa na sila special needs, not all the time na ilang parents nga mo guide, na ilang teacher dira permi, or na ilang classmate nga mutabang sa ilaw pagpalakaw. They should have the self-reliant. Kabalo sila mo rely sa ilang self, diba? And shall be geared towards providing him or her with opportunities for a full and happy life. We have to help our children be more thankful of the opportunities ahead, no? Or kabalo sila mo grasp sa mga opportunities. And of course, we have to provide our students a full and happy life. Dili raman kay mag-learn rata fully inside the classroom. But of course, we are also helping them na ma-feel nila nga ang ilang life is still happy. Maski na sila kulang, maski dili sila kakita, maski ngit-ngit ang ilang panglantaw silang kalibutan, kay dili sila kakita, maski dili sila kadungog, they are all aware of it. But of course, we will be the one, or we will be one of the reasons that will give them a full and happy life. For the third, the integration of mainstreaming of learners with special needs into the regular school system and eventually into the community. We will be integrating the special needs, the learners with special needs into the community. The principles. Now, these principles are very important for us to remember. Unsay mga kinahanglan nato i-remember para makatabang nato, no? Throughout the teaching and learning process kung mag-teacher na ta. So you have to take note the important details. For the principle 1, students with special educational needs have a right to an appropriate education. Now, muna kung iyon ganiha, na every child is or has the right to access the equal, quality, and appropriate na education. So, maski na sila special educational needs, nagyapon sila right. The second principle, the needs of the individual students are paramount in decisions relating to their education. Okay, this is very self-explanatory. The needs of the individual students are paramount in decisions relating to the to their education. So, mura na siya og in our layman's term, ang needs sa mga students, sa lahat ng students, no, sa inside of your class is superior or una sa tanan, no, in decisions relating to their education. So kung mayon ka mapa-field trip kaning adlaw, dapat i-consider nimo first ug unsa ang iyaang needs. Unsa ang iyaang difference. Example also, kung magpakuan ka ning adlaw, magpa-class ka sa swimming nimo nga lessons or nakay-lecture nimo sa swimming, dayon na ay practical, na ay practicum. So you have to consider first unsa to yang needs nga student. Diba? Muna, it is very necessary that before conducting our discussions inside a class, we should ask first the parents, no, if what is or are the needs of his or her child. Unsay naka-special sa iyang child. Di mo pwede diretso nga unsay disability sa iyang child, ma'am. Or unsa din mo child, ma'am, unsa ni siya kanang mura lagi ni siya na special kuan. So nga we should know also how to build rapport to the parents para makabalutang unsa na to pagkuan ni sa ato ang student, unsa na to pag-adjust. Third is parents should have an active role within the system. Now, this is the reason why parents are one of the stakeholders in the educational system, in the curriculum. Because parents have an active role because they first know their child. They know their child more than you know that child. And if wala may connection sa parents, it would be difficult for you to connect with the child or to adjust the situation with the situation, no? And as teachers, we are flexible enough. We are accountable pa jud inside the classroom. So, dapat ato silang gina-encourage to be more active, no? That's why in the principle 3, it states here that parents should have an active role within the system. Principle 4, only in exceptional circumstances should a student have to live away from home to avail of an appropriate education. This applies to students who have to go to school to learn. Diba? They have to live away from home. And there are some things like dorm ang student, nasa school ga puyo, or nasa gipunan. So he or she has the need to live away from home para lang maka-avail rather siya sa appropriate education. Exceptional circumstances. That is principle number 4. So principle number 5, the country or the state should provide adequate resources. Now, it is an A+, or it depends on you on how you rate the government for helping the students with special needs nowadays. They are providing adequate or enough resources to enable students with special educational needs para maka-avail sa appropriate curriculum education. Kung kadto mo sa MONHS, there is a room or there is a class for SPED students with special education students or students with special needs, and they have such a room for them to play together, to talk together. Kay not all students are fond of mamansin sa mga students na special needs because they thought that different sa ila ato sila mga students, and we teachers should be able to teach these regular students nga all of them are equal. No, walay taas, walay ubos, walay fast learner nga dapat mag-look down sa slow learners. They are different in terms of pacing sa pag-learn, but if and only if maningkamot silang tanan, of course, with the help of you, tanan makapasar, diba? So, dapat the state should provide adequate resources, and I think that we are seeing that right now. Pero dili pa kayo na focus sa atong government. Okay, they are more focused on corruptions and all. Principle number 6, a continuum of educational services should be provided. Now, it is connected with principle number 5 now. What do you mean by continuum? No matter what happens, maski magka-circo balintong pa ng president dira sa Philippines, dapat gihapon ang educational services are provided with practicable, appropriate education. Maski sa ordinary schools, public schools, or private schools, kung naay students with special educational needs, dapat ginahatag, gina-provide ang mga educational practices sa ilaha. Okay? So, that's for the 6th principle. Okay, so before we proceed to the laws, I have to review again. First objective of SPED, it is to develop and maximize learning competencies. Of course, para ma-inculcate nato ang values sa mga learners with special needs and makahelp to sila to become effective members of the society. Second is to develop the maximum potential of the child with special needs. Dapat magkaroon sila self-reliant, na ipagsalig silang self para it will help them to be more open sa mga opportunities in life and to help them more or to have a happier life. Third is, of course, to integrate or mainstream sa ang learners with special needs sa regular school system. Dili na to pwedeng forever na to sila ilain, but of course, dapat i-integrate na to sila sa regular school system and sa community para maanad sila mo deal with different people every day. So I hope that you've understood the different objectives in special education. So we'll review now the principles. Again, ngayon principle 1, students with special needs na ay right sa appropriate education. Second principle, ang needs of individual student dapat superior or paramount sa ituang decision relating sa ilahang education. Sa principle 3, parents dapat na ay active role within the system. Dapat kabalota sa importance sa parents and kabalota mo build og rapport sa parents. Next, principle number 4, tanang mga exceptional circumstances, no? Like living away from home sa isa ka student, okay ra kung mag-avail, of course, to avail of an appropriate education. Principle number 5, the state should provide adequate resources. Dapat ang country na to maka-provide og enough resources para ma-enable na to ang students with special needs to avail appropriate education. And last but not the least, principle number 6, ko dapat continuous ang educational services nga gi-provide sa students nga may special needs, whether this school is a private or public. Okay? So, our laws. What's ito mga laws? Okay, first and foremost, we have this law, the 1987 Philippine Constitution, or it is under the 1987 Philippine Constitution, Article 2, Section 17. It provides that the state must give priority to education. So class, our country, the Philippines, should provide or should give priority to education. Now, bahala na silang magkinurap-kurap na silang tanandira or magunsa pa na silang tanandira sa government, dapat gi-prioritize silang education because our education is our only, or I can say is our only one of our panlaban, no, in our everyday lives. Diba naman jumingon nga? Dahil gitong nakahuman tag eskwela ba kay kanang sayon ra kay sa tuwa nga mangitag trabaho karon, or at least malang nakahuman kog high school kay kabalo ko mo sulat sa akong ngalan, kabalo ko mo basa og mga basic ng words, kabalo ko mo solve. And we are all aware of the fact that there are people before, no, like batch sa atong parents and other people nga older than them, most of the are or have not finished college because of ang ilang gina-value sa una is work. Ginapatabang nila ilang anak o work, diba? And according to them, it is not easy for them to send their sons and daughters to school every day because mga pobre ko na sila. So mo ang ilang option is ilang patrabaho na lang ang ilang anak. So that is quite a reasonable nga or valid nga reason, but as the technology continues to grow, or as the world is nagka-modernize na siya and we are all in the 21st century, it would be difficult for us to go on every day with our lives if and only if wala tayong education. Na yung mga uwat out there, na yung mga bola out there because wala sila kabalo or dili sa kabalo mo kilatis og tao. Because, you know, they lack one thing, that is education. So the government, according to 1987 Philippine Constitution, should provide or dapat prioritize ang education. So that is from Article 2, Section 17, Timan ininyo, provides that the state must give priority to education. Now next is Article 14, Section 1. Article 14, Section 1 for our 1987 PhilCon or sa atong saligang batas guarantees that this education be accessible to all. Guys, this education must be accessible to all. Diba? As you can see, karong panahuna, the three kaning trifocalized nga education, we have the DepEd, the CHED, and the TESTA. They are helping each other to help the children around our country, maski katong mga pobre, nga maka-access sa quality education fairly. Diba? First and foremost, first an example, kanang mga students nga mga pobre and wala sila gasto or wala kanang school anang ilang community sa high school, so natay gitawag og kanang sa ALS or the alternative learning system, that is a parallel education sa atuang education or formal education karon. Same ra na ilang ma-learn. Well, we can say that dili kay complete ang nasa ALS, but of course they are still in parallel with each other. Another is kanang test na nato karon wala man na sa una, but karon na kanang lisod kayo magkuha og skill sa una kay first and foremost layo sa tuang school certificate rather. We have the skills already there, guys, pero it's just that wala lang nato na unleash or na release or na kuan ato ang potential or ato ang skills just because dili na to gina-practice atong self everyday ana, but kung gina-try ni mga thing to do everyday, that can be your skill. For example, kami ni Ma'am Gwen, Mr. Clark, ni Ma'am Jen, sa batang kauban, murag kami mga to, we haven't or we didn't expect that things will go smoothly if mo school mi sa masonry NC2. This is just an example that it is necessary for us to go out from our comfort zone because we can find new things and we can discover within ourselves that kaya din ako ni siyang paton, di ba? Another example is if you don't believe in yourself nga dili man jud ko creative nga pagkatao, di ba? Mama jud na ato, wala ko'y talent, wala ko'y skill, but for example, gipa-eskwela ka og kanang visual graphics and design, mga AutoCAD or whatsoever, and then at the end of the practicum and all, you got the certificate, you are being recognized by your teacher. So we can say and conclude that we already have these skills within us, dili lang yun siya na practice every day and wala lang yun nato siya na find. So that is the reason why nice nga tong government karon kay accessible na siya to all. It's just that some mindset of the parents are, what can I say, medyo dili kayo, wala pa sa modern, wala pa sa 21st century, because they are thinking that if they will send their children aning an institution or what, daghan kay sila gastuhon, mo ni mahitabo silang anak, kalas-kalas ragpliti everyday. Ngano di ay manarbaho ra sila sa umahan, parehas namo, mabuhi ra man gyapon sila. So these are the mindsets of some parents nga kung kamo mahimong parents dapat natong likayan. Kaya ang atong government nakasaad na gina na sa 1987. Imagine, 1987 pa, dapat ang education that should be accessible to all. Remember, Article 14, Section 1. Article 14, Section 1. Okay, those are the first two major roles that we have in SPED. Nga pwede na to siya ma-connect sa SPED. So first, we have the Article 2, Section 17 and the Article 14, Section 1. Next are these first four. First is the Republic Act number 7277, the Magna Carta for persons with disabilities. Now let us discover what is this RA 7277, the Magna Carta for person with disabilities. Kani siya, guys, mo na niya ang description. Kung may tag RA 7277, take note, ang yung description is an act providing for the rehabilitation, self-development, and self-reliance of disabled person and their integration into the mainstream of society and for other purposes. Now, ako siya i-zoom in for you to see kung sa yung description and para makapin ninyo. Okay? So, in short, this Republic Act was made para maka-provide taog rehabilitation for these disabled persons or persons with special needs or disabilities para magkaroon sila og development within themselves. Magkaroon sila og salig sa ilang self or self-reliance, and of course, para atwa silang ma-integrate, para atwa silang ma-connect sa society and sa uban pang mga purposes around us. That is why we can say and we can see that there are a lot of disabled persons or persons with impairments, exceptionalities nga gatrabaho sa government. Nga naman, because we have this act. Dili na to sila pwede nga tuwar silang biyaan there and here without giving them the importance because we are living in the same country, we are still humans, and we should be or we should have dapat naatay gamit sa society. So sila, since they are given quality education fairly, so we can say nga ma-integrate na to sila sa society. That is for our First Republic Act, which is the RA 7277. Or the Magna Carta for for a while. The Magna Carta for persons with disabilities. Next, it is the second law, Batas Pambansa bilang 344. Again, take note, Batas Pambansa bilang 344, an act to enhance the mobility of disabled persons. So as to what I have told my previous students before, this law is clearly made for disabled persons, of course, and it helps them to enhance their mobility, or it helps them to be more active in the society. So let's find out more ug unsa na siya all about. Okay, Batas Pambansa bilang 344, it is an act to enhance the mobility of disabled persons by requiring certain buildings, institutions, establishments, and public utilities to install facilities and other devices. Para mapadali na tog transport, para mapadali nila ang work every day, para mapadali nila errands every day, para dili sila makaingon nga hadlang sila sa atong society, the government is giving them the buildings, or inside the building, na, di ba makabantay mo na ramp for a person with disability, na ay certain equipment for them, na school for them, na different establishments nga makater ang ilahang needs. So it wouldn't be difficult for them. No, it wouldn't be difficult for them to move every day, to go to here and there every day, because we have this Batas Pambansa. So it is somewhat helping them to be confident every day, to deal with their everyday lives. So that is the importance of Batas Pambansa bilang 344, and that is the importance of knowing and learning this law para dili ta ma-ignorante. Okay? Third is Republic Act 5250, RA 5250. Unsa gani ni siya? An act establishing a 10-year teaching training program for teachers of special and exceptional children. Now guys, gigama ng RA 5250 because the government thought that it wouldn't be enough for the teacher to learn on how to deal with students nga naay special needs kung naara sa 4 years. And we can say that medyo lisod sa to ang part, no? Ni-graduate na to, ma-shock na lang to sa atong klase, naay students with special needs. Ngayon kasi mo sa, oh my gosh, how should I deal with this kind of student nga wala ra ba jud nako ni maagian sa una specifically. So that is why naning RA 5250 kay before ka motudloan ang mga students nga naay special needs, you should have enough training. This is the 10-year teacher training program para sa mga teachers nga gatudlo og special and exceptional children. Okay, that is RA 5250. Next is RA number 3562 rather. It is an act to promote the education of the blind in the Philippines. Diba nakabantay mo ganiha sa objectives until sa principles, all of the students should have access to quality education, including these students with special needs. So kaning mga blind na students, mga blind people, they belong to na mga special needs. So of course, na sila RA nga makaprotect sa ilaha. So kung mayroon ka, naka-blind inside sa imong klase, tapos imo siyang gina-look down, giingon ni mo nga, you don't have the right to be in my class, kay dili ka kakita, ako'y ma-stress nimo. Something like that. And you're always stressing to your class nga you are dili ka ganahan mo teach ngani ngana. So may wala na nakaga ma-strive. You're not aware of the laws that protect these people. So magpaisog-isog ka dira, magpa-hero-hero ka, mayon ka dira you don't need these kind of students kay kwan sa gabal sa imong klase. Okay, so there is a law for them and that protects them. And makulob ang atong kaldero. Mawala atong license in just one blink of an eye because giignan na nato ang blind ngani. So what if the parents are being into like this and like that, pakasuhan ka kay na sila evidence ngani ingana. So you should be aware of these laws. Okay, before ta mo na proceed sa next slide ngina ang ubang laws, let's review first. We have the first law from our 1987 Philippine Constitution. Under Article 2, Section 17, the state should give priority to education. Article 14, Section 1, it guarantees that this education or that the education may be accessible to all. If you want to read more, just go through the internet, or if na mo yung mga Philcon nga libro, Article 14, Section 1. Next laws, we have the RA 7277, the Magna Carta for persons with disabilities. It is to help them have or experience the self-development, self-reliant, to be more integrative, or to integrate them into the mainstream of society. Para aware po sila sa nahitabo sa itong society. Second is Batas Pambansa bilang 344 or the Presidential Decree 344. Lahi ang Republic Act sa Presidential Decree. Okay? Batas Pambansa bilang 344, the act to enhance the mobility of disabled person. It is to provide the enough facilities, institutions, or equipment inside a building for these people para makatabang nga easier sa ilahang kinabuhi ang ilang pagsuroy-suroy everyday because help sa atong government. And third is RA 5250, an act establishing a 10-year training program for teacher. Basta 5250, masaya na 10-year training program. Kung may yung tag 7277, keyword is Magna Carta for persons with disabilities. Kung BP 344, mobility of disabled persons. Enhance the mobility of disabled persons. RA 5250, 10-year training program. RA 3562, an act to promote the education of the blind. Kung may tag-blind, RA 3562. Again, kung may tag-blind or katagaan ng education ng blind, we are talking about the RA 3562. You should know how to identify keywords inside a sentence or a phrase so that it will be easier for you to understand everything or to familiarize everything. Next laws, we have the Articles 3 and 74 of the Presidential Decree 603 of 1975. Now let me find here. No. Okay, RA 5250. Okay, this is the child. Okay, we are talking about the we're talking about the Child and Youth Welfare Code. Pag may presidential decree number 603, we're talking about the Child and Youth Welfare Code. Ang giyon diri kay Article 3 and 74 of the presidential decree number 603. So again, kung may tag PD 603 Child and Welfare Code. So, unsay nasa Child and Welfare Code? Ang gingon dito is Article 3. Okay, we are now in Article 3. We are focusing on the rights of the child. Unsay rights sa child? Nga kinahanglan nato mahibaw-an. All children shall be entitled to the rights herein set forth without distinction as to legitimacy or illegitimacy, sex. So no matter what or asa nagikan na nga student or child, asa na siya gikan, unsay ang race or whatever, mao ni ang ilaang rights. You can search PD 603, Article 3 and 74. Basta ang nasa Article 3, rights of the child. First right of the child, every child is endowed with the dignity and worth of a human being from the moment of his conception. So, daghan ni siya right ang child, no? Dapat magkaroon siya wholesome mga family with love and care and understanding. Dapat matabangan siya para mahimo siyang develop and makatabang sa iyang happy siya always, useful and active member of the society. Dapat na siya right to have the balanced diet, adequate clothing, sufficient shelter, proper medical attention. Also, dapat ma-brought up na to ang child sa atmosphere of morality. Right to an education, right to full opportunities, right to protection, the right to live, the right to care, no, right to an efficient and honest government. So these are the rights of the child na kinahanglan nato mahibaw-an sa PD 603. So what is in Article 74? Let's go with Article 74. It is written here that Article 74 is all about special classes. Unsay na sa special classes? Where needs warrants, there shall be at least special classes in every province, and if possible, special schools for physically handicapped, the mentally retarded, the emotionally disturbed, and the specially gifted. So mga private sector, they will be given or shall be given all the necessary inducement and encouragement to establish such classes or schools. So guys, sa Article 74, sa Article 3, we are talking about the child's the rights of the child. Kung may Article 74 sa PD 603, we are talking about special classes. So dapat at least na special classes sa every province nga na ay mga handicap, katong naga-wheelchair nga mga bata, na ay ka na isa ra ka bukang tiil, dili ka lakaw, ingana. Mentally retarded, those students that are medyo kuan unsa kanang term ninyo ha, murag nay gamay, diba? Pero dili ta pwede maingon diretso nga sa bata nga buang because they're just situations nga kanang or reasons nga na sila, and we should understand the fact that they are like that. Emotionally disturbed, there are students that are emotionally disturbed. And of course, mga sobraan ka bright, those are the gifted students. So kinahanglan ta magpa-special classes ato nila. So that is one of the law kinahanglan nato mahibaw-an sa ato ang SPED or sa atong Foundation of Special and Inclusive Education. Next is Education Act of 1982 or Batas Pambansa bilang 232. Batas Pambansa bilang 232, it is what? We are talking about the establishment and maintenance of an integrated system of education. So, act of, gawas ba ni salat guys? Kanang please take note ha, Education Act of 1982 or nara ng duha batas pumansa bilang 232. We're talking about how to apply this act to both formal and non-formal systems in public and private schools. So of course, the government should provide establishment and maintenance para sa atuang education. So yes, that's for Batas Pambansa bilang 232, no? So, or the Education Act of 1982. Third is we have the PD 1509 of 1978. Okay, ako padakon para makita mo. Presidential Decree number 1509 of 1978. Unsay naaani ni? PD Okay. PD 1509. PD 1509 National Council. Okay. Okay, that is PD 1509. We are talking about the what do you call this? Or PD 1509 of 1978. This clearly state that, or it is created by the national, or created the National Commission concerning the, disabled persons. So, mo ni siya ha, ang yang description sa PD 1509, para dili mo makalimot, ang yang description is National Commission concerning disabled persons. Again, PD 1509, National Commission concerning disabled persons. So, unsa ni siya all about? Actually, na EO number 232 last 1987 nga gihimo siya og instead nga NCCDP gihimo siya National Council for the welfare of disabled persons. Karon sa next na pod nga latest nga EO 709, so February 28, 2008 gihimo siya National Council on Disability Affairs. This is attached to the Office of the President. So kung may NCCDP, katunang sa 1978 nga PD 1509. PD 1509. NCCDP, National Commission Concerning Disabled Person. Kung mga tanaw sa EO 232, gihimo nila ang NCCDP to NCWDP, which is the National Council for the Welfare of Disabled Persons. And kung mayroon kang EO number 709, gihimo ang NCWDP into National Council on Disability Affairs attached to the Office of the President. So, saan siya about? Ang National Council on Disability Affairs, they are the ones who will cater the needs of these people with special needs or disabilities. So, ang ilang gi-mandate, ani nga PD, they mandated, or it is mandated by them na as the government policy making, planning, monitoring, and advocacy body for the prevention of the causes of disability. So kanindang NCCDP, it is a government policy making nga mag-help sila in planning, monitoring, and advocating, no, for the prevention of the causes of disability. So mutabang sila relays information to all people, sa mga parents nga para maato ang malikayan ni mga nga disability. These are what you're going to do. So that is for PD 1509. Now we have the Section 8, Section 8, Article 15 of 1973 Constitution of the Philippines. 1973 ha, delete sa 1987. this is, I think, the old constitution, ang 1987, murag kuha na siya sa Jones Law sa US, murag pare-parehas na siya nga gina-integrate na tang uban nga mga new laws. So this Article 15, Section 8, gikan sa ato ang 1973 PhilCon or Philippine Constitution. So what is it all about? According to the 1973 Philippine Constitution, Article 15. Okay, let's go to Article 15. We can find here that it talks about the general provisions. Okay, nga na-appeal man the general provisions. If I'm not mistaken, Section 8. Okay, Section 8. We are on Section 8. Okay, here is the Section 8 that we should remember and we should keep in mind. No? Unsay nasa Section 8. First and foremost, it is stated here that all educational institutions shall be under the supervision of and subject to regulation by the state. And of course, ang state mo'y mag-establish o mag-maintain sa complete and adequate integrated system of education. Dapat ang tanang institutions sa higher learning maka-enjoy og academic freedom. Dapat ang study of constitution dapat apil sa curricula in all schools paski na kay student nga na special needs, because it is very important that all your students will be aware of the basic lang major parts of the Constitution nga kinahanglan nato mahibawaan maski dili ta mga law student, maski dili ta mga criminology students. All educational institutions shall aim to inculcate love of the country, duties of citizenship, develop moral character, personal discipline, scientific, technological, and vocational efficiency. Dapat ato ang state or ang country mag-maintain sa system of public, elementary, and kanang ubang school nga dapat gina-maintain ang free public education. So matingala ka, kung naka sa public school, or ayaw ka tingala, kung naka sa public school, wala kay bayaran because there is a law for that, no? Another is the state shall provide citizenship and vocational trainings to adult citizens and out-of-school youth. Educational institutions, other than those established by religious orders or whatsoever, shall be owned solely by citizens of the Philippines. So those are the important points that we should remember in the 1973 Philippine Constitution, Article 15, Section 8. Nga kinahanglan na ito mabawaan as students, as teachers pod sa ato ang society. Next is Republic Act 9442. Again, RA 9442. Unsay naa sa RA 9442? We have RA 9442. We have an act amending Republic Act 7277, otherwise known as the Magna Carta for Disabled Person. So guys, kung may 9442, amend na niya ang RA 7277. Amending niya siya sa Republic Act of 7277, ang Republic Act 9442. Okay? So, remember ha, pag may tag 9442, amending siya sa RA 7277. Yes, the Magna Carta for Disabled Persons. No? Mayon mo tag amending. There is some parts sa RA 7277 nga gi-change or gi-put, gisakto, or yes, nag-modify. So that is why nanatagitawag ang mga laws karon nga amending this certain law or the amendment of RA Churbalu Eklabu. So muna siya RA 9442 amending of RA 7277. Next is we have Section 24 of BP Batas Pambansa bilang 232, which is Special Education Services. So if you will search it from the internet, no, you will find that there are a lot of services pa di ay, no? There are a lot of special education services pa di ay that we can apply whenever we have our class for students with special needs. Okay, next is Articles 356 and 259 of Commonwealth Act number 3203, Article 356 and 259 of Commonwealth Act number 3203 rather. So, okay, so as you can see, Article 356 and 259, ang kung na all about, or gina-focus na all about, it is the right of every child to live in an atmosphere conducive to his physical, moral, and intellectual development. That is why, as teachers, it is very important for us to help our students experience the most conducive classroom, no, or the most conducive learning environment. So sa sulod sa classroom, dapat the way we organize, the way we arrange things, or whatever inside our classroom, dapat conducive and makahelp sa students to learn more. Next is Article 1, Section 5 of Child Welfare Code, Presidential Decree 603. What's Article 1, Section 5 of this law? So the child shall enjoy special protection and shall be given opportunities and facilities. So guys, kung mayon taog Article 1, Section 5 of Child Welfare Code, Presidential Decree 603, we are talking about the child should be given opportunities to experience the full capacity of the facilities, no, para makahelp saya at to learn better inside our classroom. So those are the laws that are included in our class, or kinahanglan nato mahibawaan mas kanilang sila nga mga laws para we will be more aware on how to deal with the students nga na special needs inside our classroom if mahimo tang teacher nga og ingani nga mga bata. So mo na sila importance anang pag-learn og mga ingani. So we should be knowledgeable enough, no, and we should avoid being too biased nga imo ang tagaan og kanang favor inside the classroom are those students nga medyo fast ang learning or katong students nga walay special needs. It is said by our laws that all students should have the right to access quality education. Dapat accessible sila ha. Dapat dili sila gina-look down. Dapat naay kanang formal education together with them. So guys, I hope that you have learned a lot from this module, I think, yeah. Module 2 lang ang butang because week 2 na siya. But this is our first module. And for this week, we have at least 2 modules to be discussed. It's the module 2 and module 2.1. And the next week are the continuation. So if you are done watching this video, then you can now proceed to the next video. So thank you so much and have a nice day ahead.